You know that feeling, right? You walk into your favorite coffee place, all set for your usual, and bam, the menu's totally different. Or maybe they even moved.
Oh, yeah.
That little jolt of, like, wait, what now? That feeling of frustration, maybe even a little confusion.
Mm,
It happens to all of us.
absolutely. It's that moment when your comfortable little world, your cheese just disappears.
Exactly. And whether it's something small like coffee or, a huge life change, it shows how change is just always there.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I think, is how predictably we often react to it, our human patterns.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're looking at this surprisingly simple little book that actually gives a great shortcut to understanding and maybe more importantly, handling those moments.
Spencer Johnson's Who Moved My Cheese.
That's the one. And look, it sounds like a kid's story, maybe, but it's ideas. They've been used in like boardrooms and self-help thinking for ages.
Definitely. The metaphors are just so powerful, aren't they? The cheese, that's basically anything we want, right? A good job, relationships, health, peace of mind, even just a routine we like.
Right, and the maze is where we look for it. Our job, our community, maybe just inside ourselves.
And when that cheese gets taken away, whew, it can really stir up some complex stuff. Anger, fear. Sometimes people just freeze up.
Totally. So, okay, our goal today is to pull out the really important bits from this story. We want to find those surprising insights and, practical takeaways about dealing with change.
So you feel informed, ready to maybe use these ideas when, your cheese gets moved next time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's get into it. So the story's got these 4 characters. They're not real, obviously, but they represent different parts of us, really. The simple parts and the more complex ones.
2 mice, Sniff and Scurry, and 2 little people, hem and haw.
And how they go about looking for cheese in this maze. It really shows these kind of universal ways we all behave when faced with stuff changing.
It's really quite brilliant how they show the 2 basic ways we react.
Yeah.
You've got the mice, Sniff and Scurry. They're like our instincts, right?
Yeah.
Sniff is the one who sniffs out change early, always kind of checking things out, noticing little differences.
And Scurry.
Scurry just goes, scurries into action, sees something new, acts on it, no messing around.
They're all about being alert and ready, aren't they? They don't sit around analyzing forever.
Not at all.
The book says they kept their running shoes handy, like tied around their necks.
Yeah.
Which is just a great picture for being ready to move, right?
Exactly. Always ready. Action first, basically.
Then you've got Hem and Haw, the little people.
Right. And they have these complex brains full of beliefs and feelings and, well, that can make things messy when change happens.
Hem's the one who just denies it, resists it. He's always afraid things will get worse.
Yeah, classic resistance. And Haw, well, Haw starts out resistant too, but he's the one who eventually figures out that, hey, maybe change could lead somewhere better. He learns to adapt.
And you see this play out perfectly at the start. They find this huge stash of cheese. Cheese Station C, they call it.
The jackpot.
And they get so comfortable, like ridiculously comfortable. They move their houses nearby, set up their whole lives around this cheese.
They feel happy, successful, secure. Very comfortable is the phrase the book uses. They just assume it'll be there forever, almost like they're entitled to it.
Which is such a human thing, right? Comfort makes us complacent.
It absolutely does. And that complacency, well, that sets up the big moment.
Right. One morning, the mice, Sniff and Scurry, they get to Cheese Station C, and
It's empty. Gone.
but here's the thing, they aren't really surprised.
No, because they'd been paying attention. Sniff noticed the supply was getting smaller, maybe tasting a bit old. They saw it coming.
So their reaction is, well, there's almost no reaction. They don't freak out.
They did not overanalyze things, as the book says.
They just take those running shoes off from around their necks, put them on, and head out into the maze to find new cheese. Simple, efficient.
Pure instinct and action. But for Hem and Haw, oh, it's a totally different scene.
Yeah, panic stations, right? They show up, see the empty station, and it's just disbelief.
Shock, anger, denial, the works. They're frozen with shock.
They keep saying it wasn't fair. They felt entitled to that cheese. It should be there.
Right. And those big, complex emotions, they just completely paralyze them. They don't know what to do.
And that paralysis is where Haw's big journey really kicks off. He's stuck there with him, who just wants to complain and wait for the cheese to come back.
But Haw starts feeling, well, worse. He's scared, yeah. The fear of the unknown maze is huge. What if there is no cheese out there? That thought terrifies him.
But he also starts realizing that just sitting there in the empty station, getting weaker and more frustrated,
Yeah.
that's actually worse. More dangerous even.
He's losing his edge, as the book puts it, and then comes this really interesting moment. It's not some big dramatic insight initially.
What heck?
He just kind of laughs at himself. And at him, he says, "Ha, ha, look at us. We keep doing the same things over and over again and wonder why things don't get better."
Huh. That little bit of self-awareness, that humor.
Exactly. It breaks the spell. It helps him let go of being stuck and angry. It's the catalyst he needed.
So he decides to venture out alone.
Yep. And as he starts moving through the maze, he begins writing these little notes on the walls, things he's learning. It's like a guide for himself, and maybe he hopes for him too, if him ever follows.
The handwriting on the wall.
That's it. And these insights, they build on each other. The first one tackles that fear head-on.
Was the first one.
What would you do if you weren't afraid?
Ah, okay. So confronting the fear directly.
Right. He gets that some fear, maybe a little bit, can actually be good, can get you moving. But that crippling fear he and him felt, that just freezes you. He had to get past that kind of fear.
Makes sense. And that leads him to the next idea.
Yeah, thinking about why they were surprised. He writes, "Smell the cheese often, so you know when it is getting old."
Like Sniff did. Pay attention.
Exactly. Be vigilant. Monitor your situation. Who realized, looking back, that the signs were there? The cheese was getting smaller, maybe a bit moldy. He just hadn't been paying attention. He could have anticipated this.
It's about not being complacent, really. Constant monitoring.
Precisely. Then he realizes he needs motivation to keep going into the scary maze. So he writes, "Imagining myself enjoying new cheese even before I find it leads me to it."
Oh, I like that. The power of visualization.
Totally. Focus on what you might gain, not just what you lost. Picture the positive outcome. That positive vision pulls you forward, helps you overcome the fear of the unknown. It frames it as an adventure.
That mental shift feels key to actually taking action.
It is. And then he tackles the whole idea of staying put being safe. He writes, "It is safer to search in the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation."
Right. Staying where you are, even if it feels familiar, isn't safe if it's not working anymore. The safety is an illusion. Sometimes the riskier move is actually the safer one long term.
Absolutely. Then he gets into the internal stuff, the mental blocks. He writes, "Old beliefs do not lead you to new cheese."
Ooh, that's a big one. You can't find new solutions with old ways of thinking.
Exactly. You have to be willing to question your assumptions, maybe unlearn some things that used to work but don't anymore. Cognitive flexibility, basically.
That's huge for adapting.
Yeah,
And it connects to the next point.
it does. When you see that you can find and enjoy new keys, you change course. That first taste of success, even a small one, is incredibly motivating.
Ah, so finding little bits of cheese along the way reinforces the new behavior, like a positive feedback loop.
Right. Success builds momentum. It shows you that change is possible and can be rewarding.
And the last one ties it back to the mice again, doesn't it?
It does. Noticing small changes early helps you adapt to the bigger changes that are to come. Basically, echoing Sniff and Scurry, being proactive, catching the small shifts. It makes dealing with the big ones way easier.
Less scrambling, less panic. More proactive adaptation.
You got it. So Haw, following these ideas he's writing down, keeps going. It's not always easy. He has doubts, gets lost sometimes.
But he keeps moving.
He keeps moving.
Yeah.
And eventually, he finds Cheese Station N. And guess who's already there?
Sniff and Scurry, I bet.
Yep. Already settled in, enjoying the greatest supply of cheese he had ever seen.
Wow. And what does Haw take away from all this, finally reaching the goal?
Well, he realizes the journey itself was valuable. He was so scared of it, but it actually led him to something better than the old cheese. And maybe even more important, he found a better part of himself.
Like resilience, adaptability.
Exactly. And he realizes that laughing at his own folly, his own resistance, was the fastest way to actually change and move forward. Finding that humor unlocked him.
That's a powerful journey. So, okay, great story, great metaphors. But how does this stuff actually play out in the real world? Does the book give examples?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole section called A Discussion where people talk about how the story hit them. It really helps connect the dots.
Okay, like what?
Well, there's Charlie Jones, the NBC sports announcer. He talked about being furious when his bosses moved him off track and field, which he loved, to cover swimming and diving.
Sounds like a classic "they moved my cheese" moment.
Yeah.
He felt it wasn't fair.
Totally. He felt unappreciated. But then someone told him the cheese story, and it clicked. He realized his boss hadn't done something to him personally. He just moved his cheese.
So how did he react then? Did he become Haw?
He did. He decided to adapt. He learned everything about swimming and diving, threw himself into it, felt young, again taking on the challenge, and ended up being incredibly successful, even got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame later for his broadcasting.
Wow. So he turned that unwelcome change into a huge win.
Exactly. It's about reframing. Then there's Nathan, who ran a family business, a chain of small stores.
Right.
He said they were like hem. When the mega stores started popping up, changing the whole retail landscape, they just clung to their old-fashioned ways.
Resisted the change.
Yep.
Denied it was happening, really. By the time they realized their cheese was gone for good, it was too late. He really regretted they hadn't acted sooner, hadn't moved their own cheese proactively, maybe sold off the small stores and built one big, modern one.
Oof. That's a tough lesson. Sounds like the status quo bias got them.
Definitely. These stories show how easy it is to be hem, fearing the future, while Hall finds the courage to eventually step into it.
But it's not just about work, is it? The discussion section touches on personal life, too.
Oh, yeah. Angela makes this really insightful point about relationships. Somewhere else, Jessica mentioned feeling like her relationship was old cheese with some pretty serious mold on it.
Okay, so maybe time to find new cheese.
That's what Jessica was thinking.
Yeah.
But Angela jumps in with a different perspective. She says, or perhaps the old cheese is just old behavior.
Ah, so it's not the relationship that needs changing necessarily. Right. Maybe it's the behavior within the relationship. Angela suggests what we really need to let go of is the behavior that is the cause of our bad relationships, and then move on to a better way of thinking and acting.
That's really profound. So the new cheese could be a better way of being in the same relationship, not just finding a new one. It puts the focus on changing yourself.
Exactly. It's about personal responsibility. And then Becky tells a family story. Her son was really upset about moving, leaving his friends and swim team behind. Classic hem reaction, right?
Totally. Resisting the move.
But in the new place, Vermont, he ended up discovering skiing, got really into it, joined a college team, and now loves his life out west. The change he fought so hard against actually led him to something better.
Another example of finding better cheese after the move.
Yeah. And Becky wished she'd known the cheese story back then to share with the family. It might have saved them a lot of stress, just having that language to talk about the change.
Yeah, that shared understanding seems powerful. Does the book talk about using it in, like, whole companies?
It does. There's a great example from a guy named Michael who used the story to change his whole company culture. He saw his job as needing to paint a picture of new cheese that everyone could get excited about.
So how did he handle the different types, the Sniffs, Scurries, Hems, and Haws on his team?
Strategically, he encouraged the Sniffs, the ones who naturally saw trends, to help identify changes needed for the company's vision, new products, that sort of thing.
Okay, use their strengths.
Right. Then the Scurries, the action-oriented ones, were encouraged to actually implement those changes, take action, and they were recognized and rewarded when they brought in results. New cheese.
Makes sense. What about the resistors, the Hems?
That was trickier. Michael focused on showing them a sensible vision, explaining how changing would benefit them, how it would actually lead to more security, not less. He had to help them see the real danger of not changing.
Did it work?
For some, yes, they got it, but others... Well, the reality was if they absolutely refused to adapt, they eventually had to be let go for the sake of the whole company.
Tough call, but sometimes necessary. And the Haws.
The Haws were invaluable. They were already more open-minded. They helped shape that realistic vision of new cheese and, importantly, kept a sense of humor about the whole process, which helped everyone else.
And Michael found something really key about how change happens in organizations, didn't he?
Yes. His big insight was, change imposed is a change opposed. He noticed that when management just dictated changes from the top down, people automatically resisted. Peer pressure worked against the change.
Right. Nobody wants to be told what to do.
Exactly. But when he shared the cheese story with everyone from top to bottom, it created this common language. Suddenly, people could talk about the changes using sniff, scurry, hem, and haw.
And nobody wanted to be seen as hem.
Precisely. He said peer pressure actually started working for the change. People started encouraging each other to be more like sniff, scurry, or haw. It totally shifted the dynamic.
Wow, that's fascinating. A simple story becomes a tool for cultural transformation.
It really does. It helped people acknowledge their fears, maybe even laugh about them like Haw did, and it made the whole process less stressful and way more efficient.
So wrapping this up, what are the big takeaways for you listening right now?
I think the core message is pretty straightforward, really. Change. It's gonna happen. It's not an if, it's a when and how often.
So you got to expect it.
Expect it, watch for it, smell the cheese, and try to adapt quickly. The faster you can let go of the old way, the old situation, the old cheese.
The quicker you can find the new cheese.
Exactly. And visualizing that new cheese, focusing on the potential benefits, that helps pull you forward. Basically, the main idea is move with the cheese. Don't get left behind in an empty station.
It seems like such a simple idea, but applying it can really lead to, as the book says, less stress and more success, however you happen to define success for yourself.
Absolutely. It's about resilience, really.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave you with. At the very end of the story, Haw is enjoying his new cheese, but he's wondering, did him ever leave Station C? Did he ever find his way? It makes you think, doesn't it? Given everything we've talked about today,
Yeah.
what new cheese might you be holding back from pursuing right now? What potential adventure or enjoyment are you missing? Maybe just because you haven't quite let yourself imagine it yet.
Something to definitely mull over.
Yeah, something to think about until our next deep dive.